Ever think about what happens when magic and monsters crash into worlds that feel a little too real? I've got the 8 best JRPGs in gritty, low fantasy worlds lined up for you. And trust me, you won't believe what made it to number 1. Stick around to see if your favorite made the cut. And hey, while you're here, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Let's jump in. Why should you play Dungeon Hunter 6? Imagine stepping into a world of epic battles, legendary heroes, and jaw-dropping dungeons. Dungeon Hunter 6 takes the action RPG genre to the next level, with fast-paced combat, stunning visuals, and endless ways to customize your team. Face off against colossal bosses, explore mystical realms, and dominate every challenge that comes your way. And here's the best part. You can download Dungeon Hunter 6 for free on both Android and iOS. Simply click the link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen if you're on PC. Plus, don't miss out on your special starter pack worth $50 with my promo code DH7777. You'll unlock 10 mysterious summoning scrolls, 500 diamonds, and 10k gold coins to kickstart your adventure. All right, let's jump to our list. We're kicking things off with a legend. Chrono Trigger blends time travel with low fantasy like no other. You start in a quiet world with barely any magic, but the past, it's crawling with monsters and darker threats. Magic here isn't flashy, it's a survival tool. The game keeps things grounded, with just enough mysticism to keep you hooked. The turn-based combat? Still one of the best out there. If you somehow missed this one, it's time to fix that. Number 7. Final Fantasy VII. Next up, Final Fantasy VII. Midgar feels ripped straight from a cyberpunk novel, but under all that tech and metal, you've got raw low fantasy vibes. Materia, tiny orbs that let you sling fire or ice, replace traditional magic. The world is industrial, dirty, and layered with social tension. Even the monsters lurking outside the city walls feel like they belong in this grim setting. There's a reason this game defined an entire era. Number 6. EarthBound. EarthBound might look like a Saturday morning cartoon, but give it time. It's weird in all the right ways. Set in a twisted version of suburban America, you fight off psychic cultists, mutant animals, and possessed objects. No knights, no swords, just a group of kids with bats, frying pans, and psychic powers. It's low fantasy disguised as something harmless, and that's exactly why it works. Number 5. Pokémon HeartGold SoulSilver. Yeah, I know. Pokémon on a low fantasy list? Hear me out. HeartGold and SoulSilver bring just enough grit to the Johto region to fit the bill. You're wandering through towns based on real-life Japan, battling wild creatures, and facing off against legendary Pokémon. The game keeps things grounded, and the post-game content, some of the toughest in the series. Low fantasy with a side of nostalgia. Number 4. Parasite Eve. This one's a little harder to pin down, but Parasite Eve nails the blend of horror and low fantasy. Set in 1998 New York, everything's normal until people start melting into monsters. Aya, the protagonist, isn't your typical hero. She's a detective with psychic powers, facing down grotesque mutations while unraveling a massive conspiracy. The game feels gritty and raw, with fantasy elements lurking just beneath the surface. Number 3. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Takes the Yakuza formula and throws it straight into an RPG blender. Ichiban's story in Hawaii feels real enough, but his over-the-top RPG-style battles give it that low fantasy flair. You've got enemies turning into bizarre versions of themselves, and you're never quite sure if the magic is real or just in Ichiban's head. Either way, it works, and it keeps things fresh. Number 2. The World Ends With You. Shibuya has never looked this strange. In The World Ends With You, you're stuck in a twisted version of Tokyo, playing for your life. Magical pins give you the power to fight back, but the setting feels just grounded enough to stay in low fantasy territory. It's a mix of gritty reality and fantasy, with enough twists to keep you guessing. This one's a must-play if you haven't checked it out yet. Number 1. Persona 4. Topping the list is Persona 4. What starts as a quiet small-town murder mystery quickly spirals into something darker. You're living an ordinary life by day and crawling through shadow-filled dungeons by night. Personas, manifestations of your inner self, bring just the right amount of fantasy to an otherwise grounded setting. The balance between real-world struggles and supernatural threats makes this one unforgettable. And that's the list. 8 of the best JRPGs in gritty, low fantasy worlds. If you've played any of these, drop a comment below and let me know which one deserves the top spot. If you're new to the list, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe to Final Boss Rankings, and I'll catch you in the next one.